After some impressive, yet disastrous dates with Eros, Psyche was brought by the god of love to meet his family on Mount Olympus. The first meeting with Eros's mother, the goddess Aphrodite, was tense as she expressed her doubt and disapproval of their relationship because Psyche was only a mortal. This was followed by an awkward welcoming tea party where Psyche faced coldness and subtle criticism from Aphrodite and other goddesses. Feeling lost and uncertain about her place in the divine world, Psyche had worried conversations with Eros and Hermes. Although initially discouraged after Hermes's advice, Psyche became determined to fight for her love with Eros. Aphrodite gnashed her teeth, her eyes flashing with angry sparks. Her failure to prevent Eros from loving Psyche had deeply wounded the goddess of love's pride. "That little mortal thinks she can just waltz into my family? Dream on," she muttered, her slender fingers tightening around her peacock feather fan. Eros, witnessing his mother's fury, couldn't help but feel on pins and needles. He knew Aphrodite's volatile temper well and feared the trials she would set for Psyche. "Mother, please reconsider. Psyche is a kind girl and—" "Enough, Eros," Aphrodite cut off her son, her tone icy. "I don't care how kind the girl is. What matters is that she is not worthy of our divine lineage. I will show her that becoming my daughter-in-law is no easy feat." While Eros was trying to persuade his mother in vain, Hermes, the mischievous messenger god, appeared with a knowing smile on his lips. "Greetings, you two. Looks like the atmosphere here is a bit tense, wouldn't you say?" Eros sighed. "Hermes, you've arrived just in time. My mother is plotting something again to make things difficult for Psyche." Hermes smirked. "Challenges, you say? Sounds intriguing. Let me offer you a few tricks to deal with it. Guaranteed to be so trollish that even Aphrodite will be speechless." And so, the challenge arena was established. Aphrodite, with the enthusiastic assistance of a few idol gods, created a magical location somewhere between the realm of the gods and the mortal world. This place was designed and decorated in a classic mythological style with marble columns, busts of the gods, and floating clouds. However, everything was arranged in a ridiculously messy and illogical manner. A golden lyre lay haphazardly on a pile of pebbles, ancient amphorae were filled with dish soap, and a majestic statue of Zeus was wearing a gaudy clown hat. "This will be where that little Psyche has to pass the trials," Aphrodite declared with a smug look on her face. "I will make her taste the bitterness of incompetence and foolishness." Eros looked around the bizarre arena his mother had created, shaking his head in dismay. "I'm just worried Psyche will be terrified, mother." "Terrified? That's exactly what I want," Aphrodite scoffed. "Let's see how she handles the impossible tasks I'm about to set for her." Psyche was summoned to the challenge arena, filled with anticipation and anxiety. She looked around the strange space, trying to guess the first trial Aphrodite had in store for her. Soon after, Aphrodite appeared, seated on a throne made of pale pink clouds, looking down at Psyche with a haughty expression. "Welcome to your first challenge, mortal girl," her voice echoed throughout the arena. "You dare to dream of my son, so prove that you are worthy." Aphrodite waved her hand, and instantly a long table appeared before Psyche, laden with dozens of love jars of all shapes and colors. There were jars as fiery red as flames, as deep blue as the ocean, as golden as honey, and even some that were pitch black and mysterious. "These are jars of love," Aphrodite explained with a fake smile. "There is true love, false love, selfish love, blind love. Your task is to choose the correct jar containing true love. If you choose wrongly, then you will face a fitting punishment." Psyche looked at the dozens of colorful jars, completely bewildered. "Goddess, how can I possibly know which one is true love? Are there any criteria I can rely on?" Aphrodite shrugged. "Criteria? Love is a complex and unpredictable emotion. If you truly love Eros, then your heart will tell you which one is true love. Trust your intuition." "Intuition?" Psyche thought to herself. Looking at these jars with their strange colors and shapes, she felt no telling from her heart whatsoever. They all looked the same, and she had absolutely no clue how to tell them apart. While Psyche was at a loss with this meaningless question, she suddenly remembered Hermes's trollish advice. When faced with absurd questions, just give the most absurd answer possible. You never know, it might just work. Psyche took a deep breath and decided to play along. She walked to the table, glanced around, and pointed to a tiny jar that was transparent. I choose this jar, Psyche said with a determined expression. Aphrodite raised an eyebrow, looking surprised. Are you sure why that jar? Psyche replied, Goddess, I believe true love is something pure, unadulterated, and without pretense. It doesn't need to be flashy or ostentatious, but quietly exists and illuminates everything. This transparent jar symbolizes the sincerity and simplicity of true love. Aphrodite listened to Psyche's answer, momentarily stunned. She had never thought of such a trollish explanation. In fact, Aphrodite herself didn't really know the criteria for the true love she had set up. Her only intention was to make things difficult for Psyche. After a moment of silence, Aphrodite reluctantly spoke. Your answer is somewhat logical. You have passed the first challenge in a surprising way. She thought to herself, this little mortal isn't as stupid as I thought. Eros, observing from afar, couldn't help but laugh at Psyche's unparalleled intelligence. Hermes, standing beside him, patted him on the shoulder, winking mischievously. See, I told you, just be trollish and you'll get somewhere. After passing the first challenge in a surprisingly easy manner, Psyche felt a little more confident. However, she knew Aphrodite wouldn't give up easily. Sure enough, Aphrodite quickly presented the second challenge. She pretended to cover her face and weep, her voice sounding utterly distraught. Oh no, I've absent-mindedly lost my beauty. What shall I do now? Psyche looked at Aphrodite, thinking to herself, a goddess as beautiful as her losing her beauty. This has to be another trick. Aphrodite continued to wail, I cannot live without this beauty. Without it, I will no longer be the goddess of love and beauty. Girl, you must help me find it. Goddess, I will try my best, Psyche replied, trying to maintain a serious expression. You must search all over Olympus' home, Aphrodite gestured around the bizarre arena. My beauty could be anywhere, search until you find it. Psyche began her arduous journey of searching for Aphrodite's lost beauty. She rummaged through piles of pebbles, peered into amphorae, and even climbed onto the busts of gods to look. However, despite searching for a long time, she found no trace of the beauty Aphrodite had lost. Just as Psyche was starting to feel hopeless, she accidentally walked past a secluded corner of the arena. In that spot, there was a white porcelain toilet bowl placed haphazardly in a strange manner. Psyche curiously looked inside and she couldn't believe her eyes. The thing Aphrodite called beauty was actually hiding in the toilet bowl. It was a slimy green liquid with a foul, rotten smell. Floating on top were some bits of trash and a buzzing fly. Psyche nearly vomited. She couldn't understand why this horrible substance was called the beauty of the goddess Aphrodite. This has to be a joke, Psyche thought to herself, but what am I supposed to do now? Once again, Hermes's trollish advice echoed in her mind. Confront the absurd with humor. Psyche tried to suppress her nausea, mustered all her courage, and scooped the green liquid into a small jar she found nearby. She brought the jar before Aphrodite and solemnly said, Goddess, I have found your beauty. Aphrodite looked at the jar Psyche offered, initially showing an expectant expression. But when she saw the foul-smelling green liquid inside, her jaw dropped in astonishment. What is this? Aphrodite stammered. Psyche replied with an innocent look, Goddess, isn't this the beauty you lost? I found it in a very special place. She deliberately emphasized the word special to hint at the toilet bowl. Aphrodite looked at Psyche, then back at the jar, her face now turning green. She couldn't believe that the beauty she had intentionally created to make things difficult for Psyche had been found in such a ridiculous situation. Aphrodite was so angry she couldn't speak. Psyche quickly tried to butter up Aphrodite. Goddess, I think your beauty is truly unique and incomparable. Only someone with such refined taste as you could possess such a particularly special beauty. Psyche's somewhat over-the-top flattery unexpectedly worked. Aphrodite, who was very vain and loved to be praised, felt her anger subside somewhat upon hearing these words. She began to think that perhaps Psyche hadn't intentionally mocked her. All right, Aphrodite sighed. I concede that you have completed this challenge, but don't think things will be this easy. Eros and Hermes were once again laughing their heads off as they witnessed this one-of-a-kind beauty retrieval. This girl is truly unpredictable, Eros thought to himself, feeling both amused and proud of Psyche's trollishness. After two somewhat lucky troll challenges, Aphrodite decided to increase the difficulty a bit. She summoned Psyche to a large cage decorated with fake flowers and glittering ribbons. "Your third challenge is," Aphrodite declared with a serious expression, "you must capture a unicorn alive and pluck 3 golden hairs from its mane. You know, unicorn hair possesses immense magical power." Psyche looked at the cage, feeling a surge of worry in her heart. Unicorns were legendary creatures known for being temperamental and difficult to approach. How could a mortal like her possibly capture one alive? However, when the cage door opened, Psyche was once again surprised to the point of being speechless. Instead of a tall unicorn with a pure white horn, a plump pug dog appeared in the cage, panting with its tongue lolling out. On the dog's head was a fake horn made of tinfoil, which looked utterly ridiculous. This is a unicorn?" Psyche asked in bewilderment. Aphrodite smirked. "Yes, this is my special edition unicorn. It's very temperamental, you know. It won't be easy for you to pluck its hair." Psyche looked at the pug dog nuzzling its head against her leg, and she couldn't help but laugh. "Temperamental? It looks very friendly to me." Psyche's task was to pluck 3 golden hairs from this pugcorn. She gently stroked the dog, trying to find the golden hairs Aphrodite had mentioned. However, she only found short, curly, light brown hairs all over the cage floor. While Psyche was struggling to figure out what to do, the pug dog suddenly shivered, and a shower of light brown hairs fell off its body. Among them, Psyche unexpectedly saw 3 hairs that were a pale gold color, slightly shimmering in the light. "Here they are," Psyche exclaimed with joy, picking up the 3 hairs and handing them to Aphrodite. "Goddess, I have collected enough unicorn hair." Aphrodite looked at the 3 pale gold hairs in Psyche's hand, utterly astonished. She hadn't expected Psyche to complete this task so easily. In fact, the unicorn she had created was just a normal pug dog that had been enchanted for fun, and she wasn't even sure if it had golden hair. How did you do that?" Aphrodite asked with disbelief. Psyche smiled sweetly. "Oh, I just petted him and played with him a little. I guess he liked me, so he shed his hair for me to pick up." Aphrodite was speechless after hearing Psyche's answer. She couldn't believe that the difficult challenges she had painstakingly prepared were being overcome by Psyche in such a lucky and trollish manner. Eros and Hermes were once again rolling with laughter. "That pug dog is a truly talented actor," Hermes said between laughs. "He must have been paid with a whole bag of bones." After miraculously overcoming Aphrodite's 3 troll challenges, Psyche had made the goddess of love utterly furious. Her plan to put down her future daughter-in-law had failed completely in a pathetic way. Aphrodite looked at Psyche, feeling both annoyed and a little bit impressed. She hadn't expected a mortal girl to be able to deal with her trollish tricks so cleverly and trollishly. Throughout Psyche's trials, the other gods on Mount Olympus couldn't help but be curious and nosy. They frequently gathered around the challenge arena to watch this unbelievable performance. Zeus, the king of the gods, would occasionally smirk as he witnessed Aphrodite's unbelievable expressions every time her troll plan failed. Hera, Zeus's wife, on the other hand, felt sympathetic towards Psyche, thinking Aphrodite was truly a difficult mother-in-law. Poseidon, the god of the sea, would sometimes create small waves in the arena to tease Psyche, but she always found a way to respond calmly and humorously. Even Hades, the god of the underworld, had to chuckle when he heard about the troll challenges Aphrodite had set for Psyche. He even sent a mini version of Cerberus to cheer for Psyche, making her both scared and amused. Psyche, despite facing bizarre challenges, always maintained an optimistic attitude and a go-for-it spirit. She wasn't afraid to tease back the nosy gods, creating humorous interactions that made the arena atmosphere lively and joyful. Once, while trying to find Aphrodite's lost beauty, Psyche accidentally bumped into the god of wine, Dionysus, who was completely drunk. Dionysus hugged Psyche tightly, rambling about the best wines in the world, and it took her a while to break free. Another time, while trying to capture the pugcorn unicorn, Psyche was stopped by the god of war, Ares. Ares wanted to test her fighting skills, but Psyche quickly flattered Ares by complimenting his shiny armor, making the god of war happily let her pass. Hilarious situations continued to occur throughout Psyche's struggles with Aphrodite's troll challenges, making the entire Mount Olympus ring with laughter. Finally, after a series of unexpected and illogical troll challenges, Psyche had miraculously passed the trials. She had not only proven her intelligence and resourcefulness but also demonstrated her optimistic spirit and amazing adaptability. Aphrodite, although still a bit resentful, couldn't deny Psyche's trollishness and resilience. She was furious but also starting to admire Psyche just a little bit. Eros, who had watched Psyche's trial passing from beginning to end, couldn't help but be wide-eyed and open-mouthed. He had never imagined that his mortal girlfriend could be more trollish and badass than the gods themselves. "You are truly unbelievable," Eros exclaimed when Psyche completed the final challenge. "I have never seen anyone deal with my mother in such a unique way." Psyche smiled, gently taking Eros's hand. "I just tried my best. I know your mother doesn't really hate me, she just wanted to test me." Aphrodite stood watching the two of them from afar, a complex emotion rising in her heart. Perhaps she had underestimated this mortal girl. Perhaps Psyche was truly worthy of her son's love. However, given Aphrodite's personality, perhaps the troll challenges weren't over yet. But at least in this chapter, Psyche had achieved a spectacular victory, making the entire Mount Olympus marvel and admire her.